Whoa, no way!
Whoa, we're back!
We're back. Let's go. Thankfully, I've got Rose back here. Yes. Scott, back on the desk. Rose next to me as we cast the final game of the day. Houston Outlaws versus the London Spitfire. A true Cinderella story for London, Rose, coming into the tournament. And so he framed it perfectly. They're playing with house money. At the end of the day, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not pointing fingers. A lot of people, a lot of you out there had London Spitfire at the bottom of your power rankings coming into the season, and now they have a chance at a top 3 position in the playoffs.
That's absolutely wild. I think for both of these teams, maybe Houston Outlaws a little less so, just were kind of had the cards stacked against them. I mean, for London Spitfire and for Houston Outlaws, they've had tremendous journeys throughout the season so far, and both were pretty unexpected to meet each other in a semi-final match of the playoffs, I feel like, especially when you look at just the opposition that these teams had to get through in order to even get to this point.
Well, let's bring out that Cinderella, that princess, that charming fairy tale that is the London Spitfire. London, they come in as complete underdogs. They're currently in the upper bracket. They're looking to make it all the way. Of course, guaranteeing themselves a top 3 position if they finish here, Rose, with a win. Houston Outlaws are their opposition, but I think they've taken the audience, the Overwatch League audience. I think you see the Hadi cosplay on the Chinese broadcast is pretty sick. I think they've taken the globe by storm. Like, there's something to really say about a team that comes in that is just so low on the expectations and blast their way through playoffs, form their own style with the Mei, with the Rhine, the rush, the pure energy, the aggression coming out from Hardy. It's a wonder to see, and having them in this position, honestly, it's just beautiful.
It's really been fun to watch the London Spitfire evolve over the course of the season, and even just during the playoffs, you can see how much of a hive mind this team has really become. They're all on the same page, and Landon put it perfectly during his winter interview that the team just knows what to do together. And so that, on top of the fact that Landon has been one of the top Kiriko performers for the league, for the playoffs, and then how Sparker and Backbone have been working on the Sojourn and the Reaper respectively, they know what to do together.
Let's bring out their opposition, the team that stands in their way of the guaranteed top 3 seed, the Houston Outlaws. A team that's also had a couple of question marks on it right from the very beginning of the season, but also coming into the playoffs. No one really expected both these teams to be in this position, but they also have a chance to guarantee themselves a top 3 seed. Dante just blowing up the league on his tank picks. Everyone's like, wow, they've got a stacked DPS roster. They got Dante still, baby. But then, wait, he plays tank? He plays tank pretty well. He plays almost every tank to an exceptional level. Nothing this man cannot do. If he comes back as support next year and dominates that role, we'll be surprised.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't be surprised at that either, but I feel like Doomfist was just the gateway tank for Dante. Because since then, he's played so much else. Really been picking up the helm on the Winston, which he learned a week ago. Like, seriously, started playing Winston a week ago for this meta. But, you know, has been able to pull out some pocket picks throughout the playoffs as well. Even just in their first match, we actually saw Dante pull out both the Orisa and the Roadhog in Busan.
Yeah, they do have the potential to pull out some silly things. I want to see Mr. Dante pull out the Hog. I already called him out. I want to see it.
Again?
At the end of the day, throwing a team off kilter could be the thing that they need. We'll see if London Spitfire will kind of bend the knee to that, or they match them in the silliness. That is the question. I think Houston Outlaws are a team that we can expect little flares from. I spoke to Jake before the playoffs started, and he was mentioning, you know, we got a couple of little things. And I think we've seen those in the Hog. And we've seen some other crazy things like Bash in this playoffs too, right? There's been a lot of wackiness going on, but there's a time to pull it out. It's the time right now. Oasis, or Ilios, sorry, will be our first control map of this series, Rose.
So this is London Spitfire's pick. Excuse me, this is Houston Outlaws' pick as the higher seed in this series. And I don't really feel like they have anything to be super worried about right now. The win rates for Houston Outlaws on Control this season have been phenomenal. It has been 72% for Houston, and so I feel like they're going to be feeling pretty good no matter what map they decide to go to. For London Spitfire, however, I feel like they've been very 50-50 on their control maps, 54% win rate when it comes to this game mode. So
pretty even.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they bring out to see if they can kind of go above and beyond what Houston Outlaws have already brought out on this map.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's the perfect time, just saying. Just saying. There was ever a map where we play
No, stop it.
There's a giant pit. You can
Stop it.
VP in a
Nope.
nice environment.
Nope, stop that.
Well, right now it doesn't look like they're going to run that, but all good. That is a crazy stat too. Last time they met, London Spitfire was a clean at 3-0 sweep for London. Can't imagine Outlaws are thinking back to that date. Imagine London trying to rack their memory banks to try and relive that. I mean, the last series was a lot more one-sided than we expected. I wonder if this is going to be the same thing. Looks like no funny business for either side. Just classic metacomps for the time being.
Yeah, it's going to really be about working around this health pack room. Try to control that territory and space. Dante's going in really aggressive already.
Yeah, he doesn't receive the Suzu, so it's going to be all right for at least a brief window. Dante does end up diving back to the rest of his team as London Spitfire stepping up. They control the little cage. There's the point unlocked. At least the Houston Outlaws are in a position to start capping. Disruption was quite nice. Does separate some people, but Merit not looking both ways as he crossed the road as Backbone runs him over. The Houston Outlaws not able to cap either, as Sparker claims the next 2 kills. Houston Outlaws are going to go down. London Spitfire capping first.
Right, so really quick team fight win here for London Spitfire, and they're walking away with a lot in the bank. I mean, Admiral is going to be 85% towards that sound barrier, and Sparker 80% towards an overclock. That's over double the progress that Merit has right now, working up towards his own. And the positioning that London Spitfire is taking right now is just really making sure that they're not giving over too much space for the Houston Outlaws.
Oh.
But whoa.
That's a free bit of ult charge there. Sparker can't earn his overclock now. A nice double boop from Lastro. No environmental kills. That was the longest beat I've ever seen. Admiral from the top ropes. Continue Rush is also going to get launched out. It's a nice little position, but the entirety of Spitfire just running head first into Pelican's Death Blossom. He cleans him up, sweeps him under the rug, and that'll be Outlaws flipping the point.
I feel like Houston Outlaws got so much more value out of their ultimates in that fight as well, only having to use the Sound Barrier and the Death Blossom, whereas we saw London Spitfire use both of their supportive ultimates. Pelican just worked for the perfect opportunity to go for the Death Blossom despite the fact that Hottie's Winston bubble was covering him. He just kind of went in with no fear and so much confidence.
All right, Sparker trying to hunt the Lucio. Overclock. There's a Primal Rage being used by Hardy right now, but Dante, as soon as he hears that Sojourn ultimate, leaps straight towards Sparker, but he's got the backup necessary to stay alive. Although not finding too much success using that ult. Still has a Hunter charge, looking for a headshot, but instantly Dante re-engaging with the jump and the bubble, stopping Sparker to getting any sightlines.
Sightlines are going to be pretty hard to come by as the overclock too. You don't want to step in front of that.
Yeah, but there's a Death Blossom coming out from the London Spitfire, but Houston Outlaws cleaning him up with ease. And now we're in a situation where London put a whole bunch in that fight. I mean, the Houston Outlaws, they're closer to that Death Blossom. Oh, okay, Backbone to Widow for half a second. Okay.
Okay, I think it was just for a quick pick, but
yeah,
I definitely see where you're going with that point, and both teams just really utilizing a ton of ultimates in that last fight. But it is a race for Pelican right now to get that Death Blossom online, and maybe even Lastro to get the Sound Barrier, because that's what won Houston Outlaws that initial recapture.
Another aggressive push. Look at Landon playing in the face of the Houston Outlaws. Cage control for London now. Nice headshot. Creative instantly using the Suzu on himself. But Pelican has already fallen. You saw that entire time. Creative was actually just looking at Landon to try and put some pressure on. But all the meanwhile, London Spitfire looking at their backline. Houston Outlaws will end up foregoing at the point now as the flip comes through.
Well, I mean, they stalled for a really long time, though. The Houston Outlaws were able to walk away with 91%, and London just still pushing them back. Make sure that they have enough time to try to match that and then some. Landon's getting ready with the Kitsune Rush, and honestly, there's both support ultimates up for both teams, but Admiral still has to get that beat online.
Hardy with the same jump, about 4 or 5 times in a row now, trying to cover that choke with a bubble. Kitsune rushes for both teams too, overlaying each other pretty much, and there's both beats. Pelican didn't receive that over health And Dante actually takes the brunt of the damage from the London Spitfire. We're looking at nearly last fight territory for the Outlaws, as they do end up falling down in 75% with an overclock and Hardy having the Primal Rage. Merit and Pelican are going to have a hard time dealing with that.
Yeah, I mean, Pelican's still going to look for a sneaky opportunity. Look where Houston Outlaws are trying to path right now to give Pelican the best chance of making sure that this Death Blossom is potent enough to be able to take back control from London. But Sparker on the off angle will have his overclock ready to go.
London Spitfire and Hardy leading the charge. There's the Primal. Targeting Merit. Oh my god, Hardy went so low already. You're seeing he's actually joined back the rest of his team. Dante doing the same thing, but it's a trading of Primal Rages as Lastro falls. Sparker diving head first into the front line. The Outlaws popping that overclock, but Pelican matches him with a Death Blossom. Double kill on the DPS. Outlaws find that fight, they find the camp, and they might just find this round. They are hunting for someone. They do. They find Landon at the very end. There is the team kill comes in, and London, they have one ultimate online, but can anybody get back? Doesn't look like it. Landon was there just to try and get a touch at the very end, but Houston Outlaws with a sixth sense managed to snip him out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just felt like maybe there was just a bit too much over-aggression from London Spitfire that went punished by Houston after Hadi jumped in, even with the Primal Rage to give him that extra HP. It just, you know, didn't convert over to a pick onto Merit. That was really what Hadi was going for there. And so without protecting the front line and not having the bubble, Pelican could just go in and get the Death Blossom, and especially in a tiny room. Those two picks were big and took out all the damage on London.
He saw Backbone using that Wraith and then back into that room. Landon came in, was trying to heal him with the cards, and yeah, well, the rest is history, really. Second round, points unlocking in 30 seconds. No funny business either side this time. So you end up just taking the point. A lot of teams end up just trying to take this middle bit here, just play around the health pack. Both Outlaws and London Spitfire. We'll go in for the time being, but all good. Hardy's using that jump on cooldown, by the way, my word.
Merrick got chunked there by probably a railgun shot there from Sparker, but he's going to have to reposition to try to get sights onto London Spitfire.
All right, objective unlocked. They forced, Outlaws have managed to force Sparker to use his dash. That power slide out of the picture, and so is Backbone. Outlaws claim the point first. It looks like a back off. Yeah, there's no way you fight without your Reaper here. Hardy's just trying to set up these positions, like I said, permanently using that jump on cooldown to try and get some sort of positioning or pressure, trying to get Merit or Pelican to burn their escape CDs. It's just not end up working out, and now Merit's in a prime position.
No one on London can poke their head out. Yeah, especially with that 100% charge ready to go. But Sparker's looking to fight back here as he forces out the Suzu.
Yeah, forces out the Suzu. Massive disruptor shot, by the way, from Sparker. That got a lot of damage in. And now the point is being assaulted. London Spitfire use their own Suzu as Dante takes a face full of lead. Outlaws' health bars are dwindling as Hardy just makes himself known. They've already forced one cooldown out of Pelican, but that Kitsune rush there could be the saving grace for the Outlaws, keeping hold at this point. They've even got a beat to back them up. They need to be able to execute on someone right here, right now, and actually London find the flip. Houston Outlaws not able to contend with them. They're more than happy with that, though. If they re-engage quickly, they can use their beat to overwhelm Spitfire.
Yeah, they're just waiting for Dante to re-emerge from spawn, and then at that point, you can go in with that sound barrier aggressively. And especially when Merit has this overclock almost ready to go, you want to make sure that you're creating space for Merit to be able to get those picks.
Speaking of space creation, Merit holding on to his power slide that entire time. A brave thing to do in the face of a Winston. Overclock activated. What's he cooking up? Backbone forced, used that Wraith for, and Sparker's already dead. Merit is the distraction. Creative's the one you have to look out for. The beat has been laid down. Houston are just going to force their way onto the point. No chance for Apple to escape there. I mean, Hardy creates a lot of space with that Primal Rage, but you're not looking at giant kills with the Primal Rage unless you're someone like Gushue, of course. Houston Outlaws will gain control once again. Just that beat advantage turned it in their favor.
Yeah, but London Spitfire were very conservative with the ultimates that they used there. Hadi went in, tried to at least keep Lastro under control, but in the end, they forced Houston Outlaws to have to use quite a bit in order to recapture the point. Oh, well, London Spitfire were stalling to 52%. So now for Houston Outlaws to keep control, they're really looking at Pelican here.
Oh, Pelican again, but Backbone with the comeback. Lastro and Pelican end up going down to a Death Blossom. But Backbone was just hiding in that bubble that entire time. Backbone almost finding 5 kills in that fight if it wasn't for the kill stealers on the rest of London. Nice, quick, and concise team kill.
Backbone got the Suzu from Landon as well, so he was pretty immortal being able to go in with that Death Blossom. So yeah, there's the Death Blossom right in the bubble. Coming in with protection from Hottie, but now, just like that, we are looking towards last fight territory as Houston take a little bit of time here to get ready to jump back in.
See how Houston were playing all the way back there. London, very much more of a team to play up in your face. That's exactly what Hottie has done. Jumps on the rest of the team. Oh, Dante, what happened to him there? Where'd he go? Oh my god, there's just way too much. You have to reset now to Spitfire if you're Houston Outlaws. Like, Dante falling that early, and maybe even getting a pick onto Pelican too. He's actually forced both of his cooldowns out, but
Kitsune Rush?
Kitsune Rush from Creative to try and force the issue. Dante's going to be able to come back just in time. You can imagine the Houston Outlaws are going to be able to get the touch, but they still have to deal with Sparker. A Kitsune Rush on the point, giving every ability haste plus that beat. Dante jumps to his death once again, and the overwhelming support ultimates from the London Spitfire. Outlaws cannot deal with it. I mean, Merit's gotten 2 kills, but can he touch? No. The London Spitfire tying up control.
That was so smart from Sparker. He used a disruptive shot defensively, waiting for the perfect opportunity when the timer was ticking down and Houston Outlaws had no choice but to go in and touch. And so once Dante had utilized those cooldowns to be able to get in there with the Winston jump, Sparker hit the disruptor shot and just chunked damage away from the front line of Houston. And so that was a really easy cleanup here for the rest of the team.
Look at Dante. Oh, 1, 2, 3.
He just gets like
4 shots.
4 tapped there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of looking at the positioning of Kiriko there and Lastro. Lastro's around the corner. You're not going to get a lot of boosted healing there from the amp, right? You're looking at Creative trying to save him, but Dante, no support when he tried to go for the dive. Regardless, we are on Ruins now.
Oh, Hottie just stole that mega health pack too. He'll get to play a little bit more aggressive knowing that he had that resource behind him.
Yeah, pretty nice, pretty nice. You're also forcing Pelican to use the Wraithorn pretty early. Merit's caught out. A perfect Suzu there from Creatives. He uses a swift step to get on top of his DPS. And now Dante dueling with Sparker. Someone's got to heal the Sojourn, and yeah, not quite quick enough. Landon maybe preoccupied with something else. They do trade Dante for Sparker, so one less space creation tool for the Houston Outlaws. They're relying on their DPS to try and find some semblance of a fight. But it looks like London Spitfire are in control. But if you just juggle the point in this situation, if you're Lastro and Pelican, you can wait for Dante to come back, and that's exactly what is happening. Pelican uses the Wraith to try and buy some more time. London do end up capping, so now Dante and the rest of Outlaws have to make this fight worth it, as they've already invested quite a bit. But Pelican eventually gets focused down by the rest of the London Spitfire, and now Outlaws making a real reset.
Oh, that was such unfortunate timing as well. You saw like Pelican's raid form trying to stall out the capture, but
what is that?
Man, it was just unlucky. Like Dante just didn't. The physics of the map didn't allow Dante to kind of take over that responsibility in time. I don't really care that Hottie died right there because he's going to be back before Houston Outlaws can come back in, but
yeah,
he did get a little punished. He's probably going to be forced to use the Primal Rage here, though.
Oh, Kitsune Rush instantly as soon as Dante dived in. There's going to be another Kitsune Rush on the other side. Both beats laid down, but Pelican and Merit already take out their like for likes before that beat hit the ground. Admiral unable to save the rest of his team. Houston Outlaws just run this one over. Yeah, Kitsune Rushes were good from the London Spitfire. It's just that burst damage, that one-shot potential, sometimes hard to judge when the Sojourn's going to hit the shot, right? But you've got to expect Merit to be hitting those 100% of the time.
I think when you're playing at this level of competition, you have to expect that the Sojourn has her railgun charged up every single time. So you have to play a little bit safer.
Oh, Pelly!
Well, there ain't much you can do about that.
Oh, man. A lot of Death Blossom play of the games are happening today. Very quick team kill for Outlaws. Take that any day of the week.
But it's still a fast reset here for London Spitfire, and now Houston, they're really looking at just Merit utilizing this high ground to make some good work out of this overclock. Dante as well can use this Primal Rage to help juggle somebody up into Merit's sightlines.
Overclock, Sparker, hunting for heads to put on his mantelpiece. Oh, Merit challenging him a little bit there. Don't know how Lastro died to a Winston. I know how Merit died though. He got Gumbastop. Only with a double kill with the Primal Rage. I love how I spoke about that earlier. Oh, you don't see too many kills of Primal. Oh, well, unless you're Hattie, of course. Craig's getting stalled just for a little bit. Won't result in too much. I mean, London Spitfire do end up capping. Pretty even fight so far. 50% and building up. Let's have a look at Hardy and how he dealt with Lastro.
Okay. Oh, he just juggled him up against the column, and then like as he was coming back down, he just kind of swatted him away. But then the follow-up too onto Merit was really, really big. So London Spitfire gets to take this forward positioning, but a really nice disengage quickly to rotate back to point before Houston Outlaws meet them there.
Yeah, 5 with the Kitsune rush on the point. I think is the idea. For London Spitfire, Merit hitting one shot, still peeking the Kitsune rush. Zero fear from the Sojourn, from Outlaws. And there's a Kitsune rush from Outlaws, and it's hard to come back in if you're London, right? You don't want to walk into that ability haste. So flipping the point here, making it last fight. If London end up capping, 20% is more than enough for like a small buffer. We'll see how Outlaws want to defend this point. They're playing back right now as the jump comes in.
Outlaws have ultimate economy though. Death Blossom, Dante's coming back in with a Primal Rage.
Yeah, the Primal Rage coming up. Backbone, hunting, searching for Merit, but a beautifully timed beat from Lastro is going to save Merit. Merit doesn't survive for too long, but Pelican with the backup once again. More of a distraction tool. Merit's cooldowns get burned, and Pelican's always there with the Death Blossom. 10% away, and Spitfire fighting a 4v5.
Yeah, this is going to be a really rough one because Admiral's going to have to come back, but someone's got to touch.
Admiral's got the beat if they can survive, but no one touches. Hardy doesn't get on the point in time, and the Houston Outlaws will take map number 1.
Wow, what a photo finish for this round. Very back and forth for all of the rounds that we saw there on Ilios, though. But that's absolutely wild. I mean, the fact that kills and eliminations are pretty even across the board just tells you how close these fights were. Yeah, 37 kills for London, 38 for the Houston Outlaws. A very close game thus far. I mean, Backbone carrying in a limb, 17 for his team. Pretty insane stuff from Backbone, but not quite enough to topple Outlaws on control. Of course, we do have maybe some more Kings. A little bit of hybrid coming up next. It's London's chance to pick. Remember, they're playing with house money right now. Backbone said in an interview the other day, just happy he's here. They're playing for fun, and you can tell. And they're still being competitive about it, which is even better. We're going to jump to a quick break. We'll see where London want to take us after this.
Please don't let me in.
Please don't let me into my zone. I just need some time on my own. All these people trying to get a conversation. You can conversate to that phone. I'm God on that throne, yeah. So I'm never alone, yeah. All these people trying to box me in. I'm in whether it's on, yeah. Now they ask where I'm at. Making hits that line back. I'm MJ, I'm 2-3, man. I just need some time back. I'm zoned in like defense. My life gone, no recess. But I live my best one, so I got no regrets. So I'm gone. Finally back in my home. I'm working like so much. They swear I had me a clone. Can't answer my phone now. Just leave it there, that tone. Ballin' can't beat me up, cause I'm back in my zone now. Cause I'm back in my zone.
Shifting up to another gear right now as we head on to our second map, but let's take a look at some Reaper stats from Ilios. We've got Pelican and Backbone. Pretty even across the board here, Rose, apart from one little small stat there. Yeah, we saw the highlights, Pelly. We'll probably see him a little bit later too. 12 Death Blossom kills versus 5 on the side of Backbone there.
That's just ridiculous. I mean, that means that every Death Blossom that Pelican ended up dishing out was 2 to 3 people. And I think that, like, when you look at that combined with the Kitsune Rush and finding value from that ultimate, it's really important to see your ultimates actually convert over to something. And in this case, eliminations can mean a lot in order to turn the tide of a game, especially when you're working up against, like, 4 or 5 ultimate fights.
Yeah, timing the cooldowns is super important. A lot of the time we're on Pelican's screen before he hits the Q. So, okay, who's used what? Wraith used, Power Slide used, Kitsune Rush out off the table, that's fine. Suzu used, okay, go in. There's a lot of go triggers, or like green flags, whatever you want to call it, for the Reaper to use Death Blossom, and every single time, whole podium finish for Pelican. Now we are going on to Eichenwalde is our next map. That was London's choice, Rose.
Yes, it was. This is actually the hybrid map that London Spitfire have the most experience with. I don't know if that's because of Hottie or what's happening there. But, no, but legitimately, I think it's for 2 reasons. One, they've been able to play a lot of Reinhardt on this map in particular, but also just the experience that they have and the inexperience of the Houston Outlaws on this map makes a really strong choice for London to take us to Eichenwalde.
Yeah. Sometimes it's best to pick what your enemies don't play much, but sometimes it's best to pick what you're familiar with. And if you get it both, hey, you go to Eichenwalde if you like.
Houston have a 33% win rate on this map.
Okay. Pretty rough.
Kind of rough. But who knows, maybe they'll turn it around here.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty close so far, so I can imagine maybe going to some extra rounds. That'd be kind of nice. All right, we're going to lock in. I'm assuming it's the same kind of stuff. It is.
Yeah, the only silliness we've ever really seen from Houston was Busan.
Yeah.
That was the first match of playoffs.
Map? They're like, okay, we're going to Busan, try silly stuff.
Maybe. I was also the first map of their playoffs run, so maybe they were just...
That was it? They
yeah,
were like, whoa, I don't know, maybe we'll just come out
scare our opponents a little bit.
Yeah, it's like whoa, did you know Hog's meta? Like, you have to play Hog. Like, dude, look, we're going crazy with it. Everybody play Hog.
Go on,
yeah, exactly.
Please, go on.
Exactly.
No, it's...
There's a little bit of variance. Obviously, we go to Circuit Royale, but these kind of comps are so fun to watch regardless. Like Kiriko reaping crazy Death Blossoms, of course, the Sojans clicking heads. So, jump peek for a Widowmaker on offense there. Not Merit or Pelican go for that one. Not often you see picks, but when you do, it's pretty nasty.
You'll see that Winston's right now, especially just kind of use that secondary fire before they really jump into competition. For Hottie getting really low though. Merit totally capitalizing on that.
Look at that. London Spitfire getting herded like sheep in a sheepdog. Houston Outlaws just pushing Hottie to the absolute limits there. He used his bubble and his jump so early. They were just able to kind of run him down. Not really 2 places to leap. If you're around that car area, you can leap back to the point, but that's not where the rest of his team was, so he didn't want to leave them high and dry. Just like that, Outlaws have capped the point already. Very, very quick. Hardy's in once again. Nice Suzu from Landon to save his life, but nothing can save Backbone from Merit.
Okay, really trying to switch between the healing and the damage here. Landon's doing his absolute best, but when you're fighting against a monkey, being able to go in and outside of a bubble, pretty difficult to be able to save yourself, and if there's just nobody else that Landon could have switched up to. So big reset here for London Spitfire as they look at trying to reclaim this high ground that Houston will absolutely tried to take from them first. Pelican, though, racing away.
Yeah, they look like they want to chase that. But the Houston Outlaws are ready for this. Look at Merritt just playing up to Hardy. Hardy focused down again. God, they have a vendetta against Hardy right now. And this fight is over. It is very done. Although Lastro does fall, backbone, okay. You can find anything more, it doesn't look like it. I mean, with your Kiriko alive, like, yeah, you can Suzu once, but there's way too much to chunk through. Hardy has just been the main focus of the Houston Outlaws right now. No ults used in that fight either, so they got 5 coming onto the bridge.
Yeah, I mean, for both of these teams, especially for London Spitfire, who've been playing in the back foot, you're really trying to use these fights to try to either force out ultimates or build up to your own so you can contend against the 5 that Houston Outlaws are currently sitting on. But this wraparound and this angle that Merritt's taking, yeah, Hardy's just gonna get focused down again.
Bit of musical chairs there. Look like both teams are swapping sides. Kitsune Rush on the point, and Hardy just look at that. Instantly, 4 people looking at him, chasing him down, getting him out of the fight. The payload is currently in control of the London Spitfire, so Houston Outlaws aren't getting any progress right now, but they're still playing on the back foot. The Houston Outlaws are playing on defense, basically. Spark at least starts to fight off with the kill onto Pelican, though.
Yeah, that works out for them, and now really, London just trying to attack the defense.
Attack the defenders. Defenders are attacking.
Yes.
There you go. All right. That's what you want to see, really. Again, the Trojan's kind of opening things up with the railgun shots. It's pretty chaotic at the best of times, but if you can find that one key pick, it's a lot less pressure for Hardy as well, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you just really want to take out any sort of DPS because whether it's Merritt just using those charge-up shots to get Hardy to like half health or Pelican going in there and 3-tapping the Winston, it's really difficult for Hardy to create this space that he wants to for the team. But he's making this pincer attack for the rest of the Houston Outlaws as Pelican's trying to pull Alicia gone.
Yeah, I think the payload's a little bit too far away from that, unfortunately.
Okay.
Pelican, it's about 15 meters too far. There you go. All right, backing up.
It was a nice effort, though.
It was a nice effort.
It worked once, but
it would have been sick.
You hope teams wouldn't fall for that again.
Yeah, unfortunately it was a little bit too far away.
Well, now London gets set up on the high ground here again, as Houston are going to come back pretty quickly into this, but they're walking into a disruptor shot and now have to wait for Death Blossom.
Yep, Death Blossom from Pelican. Pump those stats. All right, payloads is the name of the game for the Outlaws. Merritt just got tickled to death. No healing in sight. Sound barrier, Kitsune Rush to match. Spitfire still have a lot of gas in their tank. Pelican looking for the backline. They do receive the beats, and Pelican lets it loose. A lot of damage done, but no kills just yet. At least Sparker is dead, and Backbone does end up getting killed by Creative. And somehow, some way, the Outlaws are still staying in this fight, regardless of being down a person so early on.
Wow, I mean, they had to invest basically everything that they had that felt like they would be able to get that opportunity. And so Kitsune Rush, Sound Barrier, Death Blossom had to, you know, they saved the overclock because Merritt just wasn't there. But the fact that they were able to do that and just kind of push the pressure onto the London Spitfire forced London to use a lot of things too. And now Merritt can use his overclock whenever Sparkers is over.
Speaking of overclocks, Rose, oh, what a sick shot. Merritt, my word. Taking Sparker to the cleaners with that one. Landon dead, all right, he pushed the payload around this last corner. London Spitfire, no ultimates to come out here. I mean, the closest one right now for Outlaws, to be fair too, is that Kitsune Rush.
Oh my gosh, well, London even just need to get out the door.
Okay, Wraithform and Suzu used. That's a lot of cooldowns invested trying to get back onto the payload, and it's 0.3 meters away. No C9s for the Spitfire. They don't want to keep their names safe. All right, Sparker, there we go. There's the pick that you really need from your Sojourn. Taking out Lastro and Pelican.
Right. Houston Outlaws gonna back out as they just have so much time to work with. 2.5 minutes. Kitsune Rush online. Sound Barrier and Death Blossom coming up as well. Houston really could just use this Kitsune Rush to top off the rest of their ultimates before they sink the payload in over the line.
Big damage there from Landon. He's got the Kitsune Rush, and Pelican's revealed himself, so has to back all the way up. Yeah. You want to go for something cheeky some of the time, but if your team's getting pressured, you might as well pop your head out, make your presence known. Like you're saying, Rose, Kitsune Rush is available for both sides. Speaking of which, there they go. Avril, if he lets this beat loose early, they could be in trouble. Outlaws just need to survive now. They got to stop this pressure coming in. But look at Outlaws, they're just going straight to the back line. Pelican just delivered 0 service fee on that Death Blossom as he sends Avril to the Shadow Realm. There's 1 minute and 30 seconds to go as Merit has still got an overclock. Hardy is gone, and so are the rest of the Spitfire. What a perfectly timed engagement there from the Houston Outlaws. The London Spitfire used that beat, and you're like, okay, Outlaws maybe back up, but no, Outlaws were more than happy to just run into them, knowing that Lastro was getting the beat online in a couple of percentage points.
It's not even just that, but Outlaws had so much time to work with that even if they did back off, or you know, if they died and they weren't able to withstand until the beat came online, they were able to go again. And so when you know that you have those resources available, you're allowed to play a little bit riskier. And I love that Houston is one of those teams that isn't afraid to take those risks. And that was calculated and it worked.
That's the risk that you need to take at this stage of the game.
It's
right?
the playoffs, absolutely.
Guaranteed top 3 if you win this series. Stakes are high for both squads. I like that from Outlaws too. Even on that bridge fight, just before that second point, they lose one. But they're still more than willing. They find themselves in a good position, they just go in.
All right, so here's where the beat from Admiral is going to expire. But Lastro goes ahead and hits the beat right behind the card. It goes underneath, and Pelican's able to push forward with the Suzu on top to get that Death Blossom damage down. Backbone's trying to do the same thing in the back, but there's just so much peel from Lastro and Creative to save each other that the damage just didn't stick. And I think that's one of the biggest differences that we're seeing, even just from the stats card that we saw before we came into Eichenwalde between Backbone and Pelican's Reapers, where Pelican is getting a ton more conversion from Death Blossom to Death Blossom kills.
There you go, the stats said it all in the halftime. And Huddy and Backbone, look how much damage. They'll get triaged. They go in for another assault. See what London Spitfire, how they want to play this, because Hardy more than willing, almost every single time jumps off cooldown just to go in. Wow. Merit is also just on another level right now with these railguns. Very hard to deal with a good Sojourn that is online. They're feeling themselves, They're peeking angles they shouldn't be peeking, but Merit is more than happy to do so. No, he's got the team to back him up.
I mean, it's not even just the marksmanship of Merit, but also some of the plays we've seen him make over the course of the season. The triple collateral on Coliseo is one that's going to go down in the history books. And Houston just continuing to play to those strengths that the team has developed individually and as a unit. Merit though gets a little low here, but is able to power slide away to safety.
Yeah, we spoke about it before, but that's the cooldown you need to be forcing right now. Railgun charge for Sparker. Can he find a mark? Doesn't look like it. Dante just separating the rest of the team, and Merit gets a free shot on Backbone. This is disaster right now for London Spitfire. They are just not winning these neutral fights.
No, I mean, Landon's going to get a pick onto Pelican here, and so maybe that is going to allow Spitfire to come back with this respawn advantage with their spark being a little bit closer, but they got to try to capitalize on that quickly, and, you know, Reaper, you can just teleport a little bit farther away, right walk in, so probably not a very big window that London Spitfire really have here. And oh my god, when Lastro's gonna stagger Sparker too?
And you don't need to use ults in that fight either.
There goes your window of opportunity.
If you get more staggers here, all for the better. Houston Outlaws defending this. It's like perfection at this point.
No
2 minutes to go.
Online either, and Backbone has been struggling to get damage down. Apart from just getting kind of picked off by the charged shots from Merit.
Speaking of struggling, there you go. Merit. What did they feed him this morning? What's Jake been cooking up in the kitchen? What's he whipping?
Because Jake can do everything. You know, he coaches, he translates, he cooks for them.
Does he cook?
Probably. I don't know,
cook?
maybe. I think he can.
Probably.
But, I mean, just the fact that Houston only had to use the overclock here, and they whittled the timing down to 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Oh,
And
Pelican does it again! You gotta be checking your corners and checking your bank balance too, because it is draining to 0. 1 minute left for the London Spitfire. I mean, thankfully they didn't use any ults of their own, so they got 4 coming in, but Backbone 20% away from his first ult of the game. London are just having a rough time, even getting onto the point.
I feel like at this point, with it being less than a minute remaining, you just have to use everything. Even Kitsune rushing it around the corner, Sound Barrier, and Suzu. You gotta use everything here.
Kitsune rush, great space, but another one from the Outlaws. Both teams kind of playing in that ability haste field. Beat comes down for the Spitfire, but Outlaws are holding on to theirs. Still to the last popular moment. This is the ult we wanted to see from Backbone, but it's instantly shut down by Merit. There's 25 seconds to go, and the London Spitfire are getting torn apart. Hardy coming alive, though, at the very end here, with Creative and Merit falling to his hands. Landon getting chased down, a miniature health pack is picked up, but the Houston Outlaws still piling on this pressure. Hardy and Apple eventually kill them, but in OT, it's doubtful that the Houston Outlaws can come back and contest with the bodies from Spitfire on the point. But it was a hard for us to actually get this cap.
It was, and this is exactly what Houston wanted. Because now, London Spitfire are playing against a very limited clock. They only have 2.5 minutes that got added to their time bank to start sailing into the second point, and Houston Outlaws already back to recontest.
Touch the Spawn Thorn challenge complete. I mean, you might as well stop that gate from even opening, Rose. If you're playing like this, just knocking the other team off kilter, that tempo that London built up off of that first fight, and now they're back in basically a similar situation, right?
Yeah, I mean, Houston can just keep playing here. They don't have to really back up. They don't have to let these doors open. Pelicans gonna have another Death Blossom. Do London Spitfire even know what's gonna hit them?
Away, overclock. Sparker trying to open this one up. Dante gets his big burly body in the way, protecting the team. Look at that, an easy disengage from the Houston Outlaws. London Spitfire moving the payload, opening in that gate now. But Pelican, look, he's just gonna walk straight in. Okay, I thought that was a little bit too brave of him. He hasn't even got it online. He's 1% away, so just a single shot will do it. Kitsune Rush also available for the Outlaws as Pelican looking for an entrance to make his presence known in the fight. A nice Suzu from the Outlaws actually saves the backline. Landon ends up teleporting away, and April is gone to, not sure where that is on the map, maybe a different European country. He's gonna have to circle back around to join the rest of his team, but at least this time they get away from that Death Blossom.
Yeah, that's great. Now they can go in with their Kitsune Rush and Sound Barrier.
Kitsune Rush is used. Suzu goes down for Landon as he goes hyper-aggressive to try and take out Dante. A later beat from Outlaws yet again to try and finish this fight. Hardy proving quite annoying to deal with, but Mary's kind of ignoring him right now, pinning the rest of London Spitfire behind that gate. Hardy may be creating space with that ultimate, Rose, but it's not getting too much work done. Finally, the London Spitfire finds somebody, but just the unrelenting aggression from Dante is going to at least net them a few kills. It's a 1v2, Backbone versus Pelican and Landon. It's going to be the team with the support that survives at the very end, but my word, the time that Outlaws burns.
Yeah, I know that there's 12 seconds left. And so at this point, London Spitfire have to be perfect, but they're working up against an overclock from Merit, another Death Blossom from Pelican. This is gonna be a rough one for London Spitfire to overcome.
Yeah, and they have high ground as well, Rose. Backbone trying to pull a Pelican, but Pelican's quicker on the trigger. Sparker and April dead. Backbone jumps in, does get one kill, but this could be too little too late. Wraithform used, and now you're staring down the barrel of the double six shooters. Houston Outlaws, all they need to do now is wipe Hardy, and they're good to go. Overtime ticking down, and Outlaws sitting on match points.
What a dominant performance from Houston Outlaws on Eichenwalde. And this was London Spitfire's choice with the experience that they had and the low win rate for Houston. You were kind of maybe hoping for London that this would be a confidence booster and a way to equalize the series, but it just wasn't. Houston upped the tempo of play for this map and came back to bite London.
London may be playing with house money right now, but that is drying up fast. The series not looking quite as close as Control did. Outlaws just with this unbelievable aggression and their ability to focus Hardy is right now the crux for Spitfire. They need to sort something out. They're facing down the barrel at match point. Outlaws about to sing this one home. Could be a quick day, Rose. We're going to jump to a break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
My mic on? Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Is my mic on? Is my mic on?
Your mic,
yeah.
why
Your
low?
mic is on. What mic check? What mic check? What mic check? What mic check? What mic check?
Hello? Yeah? I'm blasting music, I cannot hear it.
마이크 붙여. 태민이. 말해봐. 붙여.
진짜?
붙여. 움직일 수 있잖아. 말해봐, 나한테. 마이크. 마이크 체크.
Not working. GG.
Twerking?
아, 나 왜 슈퍼레츠 대머리인 거 보면 이렇게 웃기냐?
You like me?
No, I don't like you.
이것도 그 줄임말 쓰잖아. 뭐지? 밤에는 뭐라 인사했더라? 영화 퀸? Hey, 영화 퀸?
Hey, young one.
Right. It's me. 밤에는 뭐라 했었더라? 밤에는?
Have a good one.
Have a good luck?
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
런던에서 영화나
Have a good
워터
night.
하면 어떻게 하는지 알아?
와라.
아 그렇게
Water.
와라.
Water.
워터.
와라. 워터 프리스 하면 못 알아들어? 약간?
What are we doing, Danny? You need to get in the comms check.
Oh.
Danny, you didn't know what we were doing and you're not telling me.
Be in the comms check now.
It's just cringe.
No, please. Please, anything but that. No, please.
It's gamer time, man.
Anytime, man.
Yep, thanks for mocking my voice, man. I have feelings too, you know?
If we lose this map, it's on you, Danny, because you didn't coach us at the start.
Agree.
Kill me? I kill. Okay.
Yeah, kill them.
초반에 막 세팅 오지게 하는데요. 아무 말도 안 하고 웃긴 하겠다. 원래 무관심이 답이야.
자, 공작전 열심히 해볼게.
그럼 벽 타는 걸 열심히 해야 될걸?
아, 네? 공작전 너가 하게?
그건 아닐걸? 둘 다 해주면 안 돼, 둘 다?
안 돼, 안 돼.
왜 안 돼?
반에 공체크 운에 벽타기 하면 이제 총 쏘고 있으면 안 돼.
Huh?
How did he took his head off?
아, 파티.
Jesus Christ. Get in there. This is why we can't have nice things, bro. Like, we actually need to just get, like, disfunded. We need to get defunded. Disfunded.
파티, put the hat on.
Put it on, Pat. What are you doing? Oh my god, it's so loud. It's always so loud.
You're so loud.
I'm not. A nice guy. Alright.
I mean, you can't be nice if you're loud.
Well, if you're loud, you hurt people's ears, and a nice person wouldn't do that. I always acting up to get on the mic check.
무슨 말을 하는 거야?
Can never understand me. GG.
Practice English, Dante, please.
Yeah.
Okay, I will. Just for you. I will come like this.
No.
Oh,
accent.
good, good.
Bad accent.
In match. Hey, Pelican.
I
Can
will.
you go Anna main?
You go main on
Oh, I'm dead.
GG. Sorry, yeah, I've actually never seen a bigger rank up in my life.
Thank God Dante learnt English there for the sake of the Houston Outlaws. Good job, Dante. All right. That skin is pretty sick. Do you know what? You can get it right now. That's right. Time is running out. Don't miss out on the Countdown Cup Legendary skin at Clockworks and Yards. It's on sale right this second. You can literally log into the game and buy it. It's great. November 15th for just 300 League tokens. That's on sale now until November 15th in the in-game shop. There's no Overwatch League tab. You click that and all the goodies are there for you. Now, let's get back into this series. Houston Outlaws versus the Lone Spitfire. Rose, we came into this with thinking, wow, both teams kind of not expected to be in the positions they're in. Houston Outlaws, though, deservedly so. 2-0. Eichenwalde was an absolute stomp. The London Spitfire, they managed to get point A, Outlaws were playing to their spawn over and over and over again. Merit was getting pick after pick after pick. Pelican was getting massive death blossoms. What do they need to do?
London at this point need to refocus themselves or try to find a way to throw Houston Outlaws off of the rhythm that they've created. Because at this point, Houston are playing like a well-oiled machine.
Oh, yeah.
They are just kind of rolling with the momentum that they've been generating from being able to hold London with one ultimate, just doing that again and again. And I think you put it perfectly that London are just kind of falling over to what the Houston Outlaws are bringing to their spawn room doors. So with this next pick, because this is London's last chance, they will take us to Circuit Royale.
Alrighty. London's last chance to guarantee themselves a top 3 seed. We see Outlaws claiming that. It's looking rather one-sided right now. Like you mentioned, this is London's pick once again. We have seen a lot of, like, default comps, I suppose, from teams like San Francisco Shock, who love to play Kaluge on the Sigma. We're going to see the same. Sure.
This is why I feel like this might be a good choice for London. This is, you know, maybe something that really could throw Houston Outlaws for a loop, because really is Circuit Royale that we start to see a bit more creativity when it comes to the different compositions that you can run. Historically, since we've seen the map enter into the map pool for the season, it's been a lot of Sigma, a lot of Widowmaker, but Sojourn has also been a pretty big mainstay when it comes to this map, just for the beautiful sightlines that it provides and also the mobility that you have to be able to play around with the power slide. But at this point, London Spitfire just going to roll out on the current meta pick, which is going to be that Winston Sojourn.
Well, okay. I think Creative was nodding in agreement and pleasure, maybe, of your performance merit. I don't know why you punched him in the face. Could be.
It was a little mean, but
okay.
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a happy, like, nice to see you.
Nice. A punch in the face. Nice to see you.
No, that's, I don't know. Maybe that's a greeting somewhere, but
nice. Yeah, I don't want to come to your neck of the woods if you're punching people in the face as a greeting, Rose. I'm going to be real.
Ooh, okay. Symmetric teleporter. A close hole coming up from London Spitfire, so the teleporter is a really nice way to try to mitigate that space you'd have to travel in order to meet them there.
Yeah, you don't really want to get spawn camped, so you're like, okay, TP, they are hiding around the corner, we just walk past them, get on the payload, but turns out London was just holding the first corner anyway. So, not a crazy amount of time saved, but space created by Outlaws. Wow, London Spitfire just giving that whole straightaway up.
I mean, Merritt's just playing without fear.
Yeah,
he's playing in the front line. He doesn't care about being the bait for Hottie. And by the time Hottie jumps in, Houston Outlaws are going to collapse on that.
Yeah, Merritt. As soon as he uses that power slide, he's already back up in the face of the London Spitfire. Just getting that charge on that railgun. Just looking for that one shot. Hunting for them. Oh, speaking of which, I'd say a little bit caught out in that small room. Good start for London.
Okay, well, they got to finish it up, though, because Houston Outlaws have had a tendency to come back into these fights despite being down a player and still take the fight win. So they will respect this aggression here from London Spitfire and wait for Dante to get back into a position where they can move back forward. But London are going to take this second defensible position right around the boutique.
That is not a pick you want to see if you're a London fan right now. Landon getting into the headshot by Merit. That is a complete backup. Yeah, there's no way Spitfire want to dice with death. The payload is going to maybe get to that checkpoint. Spitfire right now are posturing to go for another contest. They do have the Lucio. There it is. Okay, a couple of meters before it was captured. Early Suzu for Landon. Maybe means he's going to go for a Kitsune rush pretty soon. Speaking of which, there it is. Both of them laid down. Now it's just a fight over the payload. What Sojourn can click ahead quicker. These leaps from the Winstons, they are on such short cooldowns anyway. Speaking of headshots, there's one on Dante. Both teams losing their Winstons, but an early beat from the London Spitfire might just signal their doom. Lastro once again waiting for that overhelp from London to just dissipate before he just charges back in. And of course it's Merit in the kill feed with the overclock.
Those overclocks and those Death Blossoms have been incredibly lethal for Houston Outlaws. It's going to be a first point capture, and they're going to start their sale of this second point. But not before they get up in the face of the London Spitfire and try to walk away with a bit more poke damage. I mean, Merritt at this point is trying to ensure that he's got the overclock back online for when this cart rounds the corner and gets up to the height of the second point.
Good. Don't panic. Merritt is the tank. He is playing in the front line. Hardy trying to bump his chest there, trying to assert dominance. Ends up just popping Primal instead. Normally used to try and distract the Sojourn, but Merit and Pelican, in fact the rest of the Houston Outlaws, just ignoring Hardy. Hardy gets a little bit of damage done. Both Death Blossoms right on top of each other, but no, Pelican this time bashed in the head. Backbone takes him out. All good. Houston Outlaws will end up trading rather favorably though. Landon does end up going down. And now an overcommittal from the London Spitfire support line as they try and clean up the rest of the Outlaws, or at least help their team do so. And the Outlaws take it in their stride, regain control of the point, pushing it around this final corner to checkpoint B.
Yeah, London fought a little bit too far into Houston Outlaws territory. You know, they're going to have the respawn advantage, and Houston were able to come back into these fights really quickly. The good thing, though, is that London did start to buy some time off the clock, so it's sub 3 minutes here.
All right, early Kitsuna rush from the Houston Outlaws. Spitfire, there's one nowhere to be seen. Just an overwhelming force from Outlaws. I mean, the Kitsuna rush is almost a press Q and win button, and there's the W, or at least half of one. You've gotten the second checkpoint in a fairly decent time. Sparker knew he was going to get staggered there, so just gives up the ghost. So the Outlaws looking to finish this one out with style.
I mean, when you've got that Kitsune rush online, Pelican with those Hellfire shotguns is just going to be going blazing. Like,
so
it's just
silly.
Non-stop firing. It just looks so silly.
It's like he's doing a dance move rather than actually shooting.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a robot, but like really fast.
Okay. All right, Landon. I see you. Couple of kunais to the dome. Treating creative like a pincushion.
I mean, Houston are going to be respectful of this, and it's good to just kind of wait up when Merritt's got the overclock anyway. He's going to wrap around.
Look at this angle. Zeus is early.
Do they know?
For London Spitfire, they got to know. He's been free firing this whole time. Addy eventually pays attention to him, but what a boot! But Merritt does not care about your boots. He doesn't care about your tanks or supports. He will only take blood. Merritt doesn't have anything going down though, after that long ramble from myself, so a bit of a curse. Dante used their Primal Rage. Still, Outlaws more than willing to fight with players down. A nice little boop actually forces Dante to use another leap to get out of the way, so takes a bit more than he bargained for there in terms of damage. As the Spitfire have got a good hold on this point right now.
They're playing around the territory really nicely, and Sparker's just going to keep piling on the pressure here with the overclock.
Even the beat. Wow.
That's a lot of investment.
Yeah, 3 big ultimates from the London Spitfire there. Investing the beat, Primal Rage, and the overclock to win that one.
Maybe they're just expecting that Houston Outlaws are going to come in with a bunch of ultimates of their own, so the best that London Spitfire can do right now is try to stem the bleeding. Just try to go in and buy as much time as they can. Sparker putting himself in a position to try to get a snipe as well as he can play around this high ground. But Houston are coming back in with a lot, and it's really that Kitsune rush that I'm looking at.
Kitsune rush. No one in sight for London Spitfire. They have to back off. They're completely off kilter right now, Rose. These Kitsune rushes are not being matched by London. And a pick onto Sparker. Yeah, this isn't great. There is a Death Blossom coming out from Backbone, and it's a majority of the damage right now for London, but he's not able to get anything done, really. Dante just pops a bubble on him, and then there's no damage follow-up from London. The Houston Outlaws save 3 ultimates in this final push.
I think a lot of it is that the Houston Outlaws are just capitalizing on the right targets. If you get the DPS out of the way, there's nobody to break Dante's Winston bubble, and then everybody on Houston is safe, and this is the final push here for Houston to push it over the line.
Oh, and they've got ults to spare, Rose. There's the Death Blossom and the overclock. And Pelican, to be fair, might not even need it. The Kitsune rush to try and help out the front line. The Death Blossom is good positioning, but no, Backbone actually just cleans him. And now, the Houston Outlaws, they haven't got spawn advantage, so it's all on London Spitfire to try and end this fight. A beat will help Outlaws at least push on forward as Merritt takes control of the front line. Paddy's bubble stops a lot of that damage coming through from Merritt, but he's still claiming heads. A nice headshot onto Landon. And now Spitfire don't have too much healing to really repair the wounds. The Houston Outlaws backing up though. They recognize Hardy in the prime was a hard target to take down, but a quick re-engage. A Kitsune rush on the point and 0.38 meters to go. Hardy not long for the world, and neither's the rest of the London Spitfire. The payload reaches that 3rd point with time to spare.
that was a very valiant effort from London to try to stop that payload from capturing all 3 points, but Houston are able to get it done. And that last fight looked a little funny, but I see where Hadi was going for. You know, he backed off, he tried to go back towards the spawn, and it wasn't to try to get a hero pick or just switch up what he was playing, but it was to try to get that health back. But unfortunately, Houston just kind of moved into that space that Hadi left behind, and all of a sudden there wasn't a front line. It really was up to Backbone to try to stall out as long as possible.
The ultimate game from the Houston Outlaws right now is looking really clean, knowing how much to invest and making sure you're saving your DPS ultimates, especially that overclock for that long, straight corridor of that 3rd point. Super nice work.
Yeah, here's the final moments. Here's the Kitsune rush coming out from creative, and by the time that Admiral goes down, there's just no way to really get back into the positioning. And at this point, Hadi has just now re-entered the fray. Linden had followed him to try to make sure that he had as much health as possible to come back after the Primal Rage got chunked down, but that Kitsune rush just overwhelmed London with damage.
Spawn hold here from the Outlaws, Rose.
Oh, that
completely
different.
Try to
give it to him.
Look, it's exactly the same as kind of the Dallas Fuel, the Seoul Dynasty game we had a little minute ago. Whereas Dallas Fuel holding the spawn. Oh, everybody's teleporting though. Yeah, you're gonna have to react to that. Everybody's got so many mobility cooldowns in this comp, so it's pretty easy for London in that regard. We've swapped sides, by the way, as you can tell.
It's smart because, like, how do you access Merit? Merit had the high ground, and who are you going to send up there except for Hadi or Backbone?
Look at this duel. I mean, Merit, like you said before, Rose, absolutely no fear. We'll take that duel any day of the week versus Sparker. Ante does end up going down. Not the best. I mean, stalling for time here is really all that you could ask for if you're the Houston Outlaws. The London Spitfire eventually kind of cleaning up these kills, but that's what Outlaws have done best, is just stall for time. Even if you end up losing this fight, you find one pick, yeah, it's whatever. Landon can kind of teleport back, but you still burn a minute on that first corner.
That's a lot of time to work with when you're trying to make sure that London have a little bit of pressure under them. But you know, this might be lighting a fire under them too. They know that their backs are against the wall. They're down 2 maps in the series, and they're trying to keep it competitive. So they've got to win this map, and the start of that is going to have to be matching Houston by capturing all 3 points, and a pick on a Pelican is going to be a really great way to get this payload rolling.
Really nice start there. Admiral's got quite a bit more healing than Lastro at this point. Oh dear, okay. That's not good for London Spitfire. He might have to use a bit more than the amp healing there. He does end up utilizing the beat to push them forward after losing Landon. That's really the only tool you have to sustain yourself in the fight. They do use it to push Outlaws all the way back, but the Outlaws are smart there. They end up retreating Rose so they can get another attack.
I know, and all the while, London Spitfire actually weren't pushing the cart. So Houston have plenty of time to come back now, and here they are as a team of 5, and Hadi's taking a lot of damage already.
Overclock online, yeah, too much damage. Even a beat thrown in by the Houston Outlaws. Okay, a lot of ults invested, but it makes it worth it if all the kills are there and you get some more stats. That's what it's about at the end of the day. Oh, nice TP away from Landon to spare his own life. That payload is halted on that first corner. On that second, last, sorry.
So London have 3 ultimates to come back into this one. And really looking at Hadi using that Primal Rage for a bit of sustain. Dante the same. But where do these Reapers go? It's about that Death Blossom value. And Pelican's been winning that out a bit more often in this series so far. Backbone gets a little bit low, but who forces out those cooldowns first to get these Death Blossoms?
Well, Pelican's getting mad value, like you said. He's already used the Death Blossom, but he actually gets just booped away over the sign, so little to no effect that ultimate had. I mean, Backbone's also got his, but getting yourself in a position like Heroes is going to be super difficult. Hardy's trying to help him out, trying to pop people back into Backbone to try and get some sort of Death Blossom damage in. Doesn't look like you're going to need it. Oh, you're going to do it anyway. Backbone with a 3k, why not? Hardy's setting that one up with the Primal. 60 seconds to go. The first checkpoint is going to be theirs.
Yeah, I mean, this was London really putting emphasis onto making sure that Backbone's Death Blossom was the win condition. How when Hadi jumped in with the Primal Rage, he was able to force out the Suzu for creative. And so here's the Death Blossom now when it's completely free reign. Winston Bubble gone, Suzu off the field, but Kitsune rushes here.
Yeah, we got no time for replays right now. Houston Outlaws, they're in the 7th gear. Hadi dead, and here comes the sport hold, baby. Let's go. Alrighty. 3 minutes, sorry, on the bank for the London Spitfire. At least got back going for them. I feel like this is a new tempo that we've not seen Outlaws play before, Rose. Very much like super hyper aggressive. I mean, Dante's kind of that player anyway. Doomfist, obviously one of his better heroes, a very aggressive hero at times. A little less aggressive than it was in Overwatch 1, being the main tank for your team, but still, it's a really nice pace line.
But I think also Houston are putting a lot of trust into Lastro and Creative to keep them up. There's no other way that Merritt would play as aggressively as he is without that support behind him.
Right, he's just letting it loose. Oh, what a shot onto Backbone. Not respecting Merritt, continuing to hold that angle with a charged railgun shot.
This is looking really rough here for London. They don't have any ultimates on the board right now except for Sparker's overclock, which is still roughly 20% away. And with less than 2 minutes, you're gonna need all the picks you can get here. So go for these openings and now push the aggressions. London Spitfire hold W.
Outlaws still going in. They don't care, Rose. Always taking the 4v5s. They know they can win these fights. Lastro's going to get back to the point in just a brief moment, as has the beat to boot. Sparker's under so much pressure. Cannot get a clean shot onto anybody. He's looking at the Reaper, the Winston, the high ground that Merritt controls. It's been so difficult to get out of the spawn. London Spitfire can't win this fight. They kill Dante, but again, another fast hero to get back to the point in time.
This is still just a great territory for Houston Outlaws to keep this forward hold. This card has barely moved past that first checkpoint, and it's starting to roll backwards. They have a minute remaining. London Spitfire have to use both of these ultimates perfectly to set Backbone up for success again, but Houston Outlaws can do the same thing.
Oh, Lastro didn't quite receive those healing cards in time, as Pelican just unloading as many Hellfire shotgun shots as he can into Hardy. The Death Blossom going a little crazy, a little overeager maybe. Getting taken care of by Admiral, but still 40 seconds to go. London Spitfire having to burn ultimates to get around this hill.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the Primal Rage gone, and so that's not a great ultimate that you have available now to be able to dislodge the Houston Outlaws. And it's final fight here. Jack, this is do or die. London has to push it over the line here.
Landon goes down once again. Merritt just taking him to court. It's so going to, like, how are the Outlaws still getting away with this? In Landon's own ult, Outlaws still find kills. Sparker holding onto 100 energy. Outlaws, they're waiting here. They know there's ultimate still on the table for the Spitfire.
All right, Wraith Form used here by Backbone, but that means that he's got to get into a position.
Admiral's dead. Death Blossom comes out. Overtime ticket down, and London don't touch. The Houston Outlaws are going to 3-0 the London Spitfire, guaranteeing them the 3rd seed going into tomorrow. What a series from Outlaws. Another clean sweep of a game. 2 series back-to-back that we thought would be pretty damn close. But no, that Outlaws playing at a completely different tempo today, Rose.
And you want to know what this means? This means we get a rematch for the Battle for Texas on land. Baby, let's go.
Battle for Texas on land. We've had so many of them this year already. Gonna make it a 3-peat. Houston Outlaws, what a team to show up in the playoffs. Number 6 seed coming in. People had, pretty high hopes, but a lot of people thinking they'll drop down to lower bracket, maybe make a run there. But they are determined. You can see it in their play. They're confident, Rose.
They're very, very confident. I mean, Merritt just showing that in spades, being able to push forward and not having any fear about whether or not he's going to get taken out, because he believes in his mechanical aim, and he also believes in the supports that are holding down the fort in the back line.
Let's have a look at player of the match then. The Houston Outlaws, I think a lot of them deserved it, but Pelican is going to be today's. I mean, look, nothing that guy can't do on the Reaper by the looks of it. Another extremely aggressive Reaper that just gets up in your faces, the Death Blossoms. I was talking about how, you need to wait for cooldowns, but it felt like Pelican just, whatever, just jumped the bat, hit Q, get some kills, do the vibe.
He still waited, but it just didn't look like it because of the pace at which Houston were playing. Just constantly carving out these windows, and when it feels like, because they're so slim, to be able to make sure that you're converting over to value for 2-3 picks with these Death Blossom. But Pelican finds a way to weave it in there and make sure that he's going to be able to convert that over to value. Been super impressive, and you know, I feel like when you give it to the Reaper for player of the match, you're also kind of giving it to the whole team. But
All right, okay. Nice. Seeing a lot of moves.
Yeah, I like these player cards.
I like that. It's good.
That's very fun.
Flexing the guns. You love to see it. 10k, almost 11k damage per 10. Final blows up there. Like Death's looking pretty low. Pelican, especially in this series, like Death Blossom kills per 10, 6. Death Blossom efficiency almost 2, so he was almost guaranteeing 2 kills per
like that's
Death Blossom.
really big.
Really high.
1.2 is probably about average. So pretty great.
Outlaws, like you said, Rose, Battle for Texas once again.
Battle for Texas.
I know the fans are definitely going to be happy about that one. It's always a treat. The Dallas Fuel do look nigh on unstoppable right now. That is the only problem there, I think, Rose. It's going to be a little tough regardless, but if Houston Outlaws keep playing the way they played today, Dallas Fuel might be in a run for their money.
They might, very well might be. I mean, it's going to be really tough. I'm super excited to see what kind of land buff both of these teams get, but it's also not over for London Spitfire either. They were playing in a winner's bracket semifinal, so they're going to drop down to the lower and face off against Hangzhou Spark tomorrow to see if they can keep the tournament dreams alive.
And don't forget, tomorrow is Thursday. Then we got Friday, the grand finals. We are in the stadium.
And we still got tickets!
Still got tickets. They're on sale now. You know where the website is. If you don't, it's on Twitter. You'll be able to find it. But we're in the stadium. There's going to be a crowd. It's going to be pretty damn sick. You're not going to want to miss it. If you're stuck at home, that's no worries. You can tune in the same time tomorrow. It's going to be crazy. I mean, the crowd buff too, we know how much it affects the Dallas Fuel and the Outlaws. So seeing that in front of a crowd once again is going to be pretty amazing. And Outlaws, to be fair, historically, Battle for Texas has gone their way. We're not in Texas anymore, Rose. We'll see if that does change things.
Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Who knows? You're going to just have to wait and find out. But I think that's it for the matches today.
That's it for the matches today. We're going to jump to a quick break. The desk is going to wrap up the day. See you in a bit.
Yeah. I need time. I have bubble 3 seconds.
Put it.
Alright, I'm gonna hard push, okay?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
I close my.
Sorry.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Butterfinger. Crispity, crunchity, peanut buttery. No one lays a finger on your Butterfinger.
Welcome back to Watchpoint Post Show. I'm here joined now by Merritt from Houston Outlaws. Merritt, congratulations on the win. I mean, this was a beatdown. It was a 3-0 victory for the Houston Outlaws. What do you think gave you guys the edge today over the London Spitfire? 자, 오늘 경기 굉장히 쉽게 3대0 승리로 휴스턴 승리로 경기가 끝이 났습니다. 오늘 런던과의 경기 좀 어떻게 해서 승리를 거두시게 되신 것 같으신가요?
일단 생각외로 런던이 많이 약한 것 같아가지고 쉽게 이긴 것 같고요. 저희 팀원들이 다 잘해서 이긴 것 같습니다.
I mean, definitely it's because all of our teammates were really good. Not only that, London was a lot weaker than I expected, so I think that was why we did beat them 3-0. All right, moving on to my next question, Merritt. Of course, tomorrow is a big day because you guys are going up against the Dallas Fuel. It's another battle for Texas. Last time you guys faced off against each other, Houston Outlaws did beat the Dallas Fuel, but Merritt, how confident are you that you guys could beat them again in the playoffs tomorrow? 자, 내일 경기죠. 내일 달라스와의 다시 경기가 한 번 더 있습니다. 지금 현 상태로 달라스가 지금 어떻게 보면은 최강의 팀이라고 하긴 좀 그렇죠. 아무튼 최강의 팀들 중에 한 팀인데 이제 어떻게 보면은 내일 달라스와의 경기 마지막 휴스턴과의 경기가 있었을 때는 휴스턴이 승리를 했지만 내일에서는 좀 어떻게 이길 수 있을 거라고 자신하시나요?
일단 전에 이긴 경험이 많기 때문에 내일도 이길 거라고 생각합니다.
All right, definitely we have a lot of experience in winning against the Dallas Fuel, so I think that is why we are definitely going to win against Dallas Fuel tomorrow again. All right, Merritt, that is it for the interview. Thank you so much for your time, and yeah, hopefully I get to talk to you soon. 자, 이걸로 인터뷰 마치도록 하겠습니다. 자, 오늘 승리 너무 축하드리면서 보내드리도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
All right, Zoe, back to you.
Thanks a bunch, Danny. Congratulations to Merritt and his entire team, the Houston Outlaws. They are moving on and.
Stop smiling. Stop smiling. I don't want to hear it right now.
I don't want to hear from the fans, you know?
Yeah.
Zoe, I can take it. All right. You have some good predictions about the fans. I cannot take the fans.
Yeah. No.
If you start bragging about this, Dallas Fuel fans in my mentions, Houston Outlaws fans in my mentions, the entirety of Texas in my mentions, I'm fed up. No more. I'm muting you guys.
You know how you can make it stop? Tread right the next time. Ooh, she went there. She did. Imagine not treading the Outlaws. Let's break it down. How did my team get it done? Dante, by the way, very disappointed with you, Costa.
He was.
Met him in the hallway, and I ratted you out.
Yeah, so he did. Dante, we passed him. I'm like, congratulations, man, that's great. And so he just pushes me aside and says, he didn't predict you, I did. And honestly, that's fair. The Houston Outlaws are looking incredibly strong right now. They just seem to keep leveling up time and time again. And Merritt, we cannot speak enough about how good he has been on this Sojourn and how clutch he has been for the Houston Outlaws. Pelican getting roll star. Honestly, everyone individually popping off, including the Dante Winston.
Absolutely. And I mean, what an amazing upper bracket final we now have on our hands. It's the battle for Texas. And keep in mind, last time around, it was the Houston Outlaws on the Dallas Fuel's home turf who took down their state rivals. Houston Outlaws, I mean, they've just leveled up this tournament, and they are improving day by day. I actually think at the start of the tournament, people were saying about Houston Outlaws, you know, the rumors behind the scenes were that Houston Outlaws, they were messing around with hero picks, they couldn't find comfortability in this meta, that's why we saw the Roadhog, for example. But over time, the Houston Outlaws have garnered the respect of so many other teams who have participated here in the playoffs. And I mean, taking down the London Spitfire 3-0, a team that Fearless just came out and praised and said that London might be the only threat to the Dallas Fuel. I can't wait to see tomorrow's matchup.
Well, then obviously, if you think about that, so Fearless considers London a threat, then Houston takes London down, then clearly Houston must be the bigger threat, so Fearless is now scary.
So if London is pretty good and Houston beat pretty good, that means they're
pretty darn good.
Pretty darn good. Wow. The Houston Outlaws, pretty darn good right now. Let's talk about the London Spitfire a little bit. Honestly, they've been very impressive throughout the entirety of the playoffs, but today just didn't show up in the same way. We didn't see that same level of impact coming in from Sparker. Backbane not able to do as much on that Reaper as well. And the Houston Outlaws, kind of similar to the Dallas Fuel Seoul Dynasty matchup, just kind of outpaced in a lot of ways.
Yeah, outpaced, but at the same time, though, you know, they're not eliminated quite yet, both Seoul Dynasty and the London Spitfire, they get a chance again. So while it might have felt like they kind of threw everything they had into this to qualify for the top 3, I didn't see any kitchen sinks involved.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to see them throw everything and the kitchen sink, but because without the kitchen sink, neither Seoul or London really stood a chance.
You don't want to throw it too early. If you throw the kitchen sink too early, there's no going back on that,
exactly.
right?
You can't throw anything more than the kitchen sink.
Yeah, also you can't do your dishes anymore.
Yeah,
so
it's awful. It just gets
terrible.
dirty.
Yeah, everything gets dirty.
I have
in there,
tons of
otherwise.
kitchen sinks in my garage.
Yeah, he has a stack of kitchen
It's a
sinks.
Swedish thing.
I throw them everywhere.
Anyway, yeah, London will go up against the Spark, of course, in the lower bracket, which might be a very, very explosive match, but they do have a second life, a second chance to get a little bit closer to that trophy. Now, we do have, of course, still one of our favorite segments heading your way, and that's Best of the Day.
Wow,
I think this is my new
I
favorite
have
segment.
really tried hard
Sorry,
here.
brackets, but Best of the Day. And
Oh,
especially
brackets?
you, when you introduce it like that with a song, I feel
With a
like Best
song.
of the Day is better than brackets.
Yeah, I agree.
I just sold that, I guess. Well, you wait and see what I got for you, though.
Oh.
I'm kicking things off with what feels like ages ago. Proper on Widowmaker, clicking heads.
Proper?
Yeah, shocker.
I am.
Shocker. Zoe picked
I am
proper
flabbergasted.
Best of the day. How did that happen? But no, honestly, like, yeah, this guy should be our all-star. Oh wait, he is. That's crazy how that happens. But yeah, no, I mean, he just doesn't miss, and he's not just playing it on Widowmaker on such a high level. Obviously, he can just click heads with any hero who's playing, but the fact that they make room for him on that Widowmaker, putting Kilo on that Sojourn, just so he can switch around however he pleases, and then he hits shots as nasty as this one. It's just scary.
Just not fair.
No, it's not fair. It really isn't.
Did you see the one where like he got fluxed up by the Sigma, and then he like while he was fluxed, he took a snipe and killed the enemy Batiste? I'm like, that was a Sigma ultimate, and you just used it to your own advantage. Like, that's unfair.
You
Come
fool,
on.
I have the high ground. Okay, that means I'm coming up next. And honestly, this comes with Johnny's great casting and Necker's great casting, but this was just a juggle coming in from Gushue at the perfect moment against the Florida Mayhem. And the 4th map on Esperanza, this was a clutch moment. Hydron was about to go crazy, about to have high impact on this Sojourn, and Gushue says no. Pushes him back from the slide, pushes him back into his team, and gets that kill, and that facilitated the team to move forward and close out this map. Gushue has done this time and time again, but I thought I'd highlight this one in particular.
I'm really glad that the bubble gum brawl turned into an absolute banger.
The bubble gum brawl was a banger.
The bubblegum brawl.
I tried to come up with
5 times in a
words
row,
would start with
and
B. It was a bash. Brawl.
Bowl.
The bubblegum bash brawl banged.
What is going on?
particularly
Anyway, my best of the day. I'm
Yes.
sorry, I have put this
No,
curse
please
on
go
the best. My best of the day, Shy Ducks.
Yeah,
and I'm not talking about crouching here, guys. I'm talking about raw, unhinged headshots coming out from Shy on this Sojourn. I mean, this matchup through and through was such an absolute treat, and I'm so happy to have been able to cast it with Necro, of course. She did a fantastic job. Shy just like popped off in every aspect possible. Here, I believe he deadlifted here on Paraíso, and then as well we headed over to Dorado, like what his signature map. Like, I'm just willing to dedicate Dorado to Shy from this point on.
His map.
Absolute beast of a player, and honestly, like, I wouldn't count the Spark out to just make some ridiculous run, because Shy is just popping off on this Sojourn. It's ridiculous.
No, it really is. I also heard through the grapevine that now obviously the losing team has to change their team colors, because they can.
No,
It's very unfortunate.
No.
Yeah, there can only be one pink team.
Yeah,
right?
Florida.
If anything, I want like a pink pandemic. We're just like, if you beat a team, they have to adopt pink colors.
Anyone who
We just
loses
have 20
to the
pink
Spark
teams.
from now on needs to change their colors to pink.
That's a choice, which we might make or not. I don't know. But for now, let's actually take a look at the brackets so we know exactly what's coming our way tomorrow. Starting with the losers bracket, the Seoul Dynasty will face off against the San Francisco Shock, and the Spitfire will go up against the Spark. These two matches have potential to be absolute bangers.
I just can't get enough of the playoffs.
Yeah, there's so many good games, time after time.
And then here, the battle for Texas in the winners final. Like, what? What a pleasure, what a treat.
You know what the crazy thing about me with this matchup is? We were saying no one can beat Dallas Fuel on this land right now. And then I sort of had that moment of, if anyone could do it, it would be the Houston Outlaws. Every time they played on land this year, the Houston Outlaws have beaten the Dallas Fuel. This could be another one.
It might be their kryptonite. I mean, the color checks out, right? So you don't know.
Honestly, I look at that matchup and I get like imposter syndrome from Outlaws fans. I'm like, we're in top 3? Like, what is going on? This is the first time the Houston Outlaws have been in the top 3 in a tournament since stage 1, 2018.
It's crazy. They must be elated. I mean, this feels like a victory already.
Yeah, they got beat by London Spitfire in that top 3 match.
They really?
Yeah.
That was a really
And London Spitfire went on to win it all.
We just didn't know.
Here we go. Oh, it's Necro and Jaws.
Hey,
they're eating Butterfingers! They're eating Butterfingers on our show?
Well, you know what? Jokes on them. We only have to go through the schedule, and then we can go out there and get a good bite
Steal
ourselves.
their Butterfingers.
Exactly. We were going to go and comfort their Butterfingers, but first let's take a look at our schedule so you know exactly what time we are going to be back. What?
We're just losing it. I'm loving this. We're having a great time.
show
I love
energy.
the desk. I love Anaheim. I love you, Zoe. I love you, Costa. This is amazing.
Me too.
I love you as a co-worker.
I also love schedules deeply and thoroughly. That's right. We're going to kick things off at 2:30 tomorrow, same time, same place. San Francisco Shock, Seoul Dynasty. Afterwards, the Spark will take on the London Spitfire following the Battle of Texas. And then we have one more match, of course, which we bring your way. But most importantly, we're going to be back there. You can't see where I'm pointing at, but there's an arena somewhere in the darkness waiting for all of you who got a ticket. There's still a few on sale, so make sure to grab them. And you might be able to meet us right there, over there, right there.
We're going home. The definite Anaheim.
Actually, Anaheim!
We're coming home. We're going to be in the original stadium that everything happened with BlizzCon. It's going to be magical. It's going to be awesome. The matches are slated to be great. I'm excited.
Can I make stuff up here in the post show as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Is this the first time in tomorrow's matchup, the first one, Shock versus Seoul Dynasty? Is that the first time they're playing again since the 2020 Grand Finals?
Let's go with yes to make it happen.
I'm just going to make that up. I don't know if it's true. I'm a professional analyst. I'm making stuff up on the fly. Let's go with it.
Yeah, we'll take the night to fact check it, and you should tune into our pre-show tomorrow where we can figure out if it's true.
I made it up and it's true. Well, I didn't really made it up, but it's true.
Yeah, production just told us it's true. So
awesome.
Thanks. That was the what I planned for the A block, the entirety of it. So I guess we'll have to come up with.
No, really, it was. I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, it wasn't. Great. Oh my.
Sorry about that.
We've lost it. We need to get us out of here.
It's been a long day, but an exciting one, and we have 2 more of those to come, so you don't want to miss it. Thank you so much for tuning in for yet another day. Scott, it's been great to have you back. Reinforce, thank you so much for letting us pick your brain, and we will be back tomorrow with more action. Goodbye.
Anaheim.